Hey guys, it's Nick. Welcome to another episode of T-365. Today's episode, we're covering the exciting topic of ChatGPT. Lots of buzz around this today in the industry, and I think it's warranted just because I believe this technology is a game changer. For me, putting my MSP hat on and seeing this for the first time, I felt like there was some low-hanging fruit from application standpoint with the ability to interact with users in chat. So for that reason, I created a proof of concept leveraging a custom Teams app and an integration with the OpenAI API to provide responses to users and use that technology within the Teams app so they have some more self-service experience. And then additionally, I integrated it with our PSA tool. In this case, that was Synchro, so that the user could see their active tickets along with creating a new ticket as well, all from within the Teams application. So we'll be covering that today. I'm going to show you the solutions that I use to create this POC. And as always, if this content's helpful, go ahead, like and subscribe. Otherwise, let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so diving in here, I showed you guys some of this in the preview there while I was talking in the introduction, but just to give you a little bit more in-depth view here, this is the API that's integrated with the OpenAI API that allows us to provide prompts, and then it will give us a response based off that prompt. So as you can see in the video, I submitted something like how to reset my Microsoft password, and then went ahead and loaded this up just to give us a response here. And it's pretty detailed as far as all the steps go, so you can really go in and type whatever you want here as far as what you want to get out of the output. And again, it's not just Microsoft related, it's obviously just taking in anything you want, and you can submit these things and it'll go ahead and pull from that API. And I created even more integration here just to show capability of detecting keywords to then grab GIFs as well too. So it's completely customizable here, and this is really the power of what you can do. But I wanted to create this support hub so that the user can go through a step-by-step process of going ahead and asking questions to try to get some self-service, viewing any open tickets, and this is where they have, or I have, the integration with my Synchro environment. So it's basically allowing us to grab the user profile from Teams within this environment. We're using JavaScript and React underneath here as far as what's under the hood. And React has this library for Teams that allows you to natively just grab the user profile. So off of that profile, I'm simply grabbing the user's UPN, and I'm using that UPN to look them up as a contact within my PSA tool, and then using that contact ID to pull in all of their active tickets. So just again, surface level here, obviously if this was a more real application, I would want to go ahead and give them the ability to update tickets or view the comments and do all those things directly from within here, but I just wanted to show the capabilities that you have at a high level so you can then explore from a more imaginative standpoint of what this might look like. Then lastly here you have the ability to create new support cases, and so I can go in here and I can add a new support case and I can submit it, and I get the little prompt that it's been submitted, but immediately when I go back in I have this new ticket, and this is exactly when I'm creating it here. So pretty cool capabilities as far as directly being integrated into Teams. And this is again just surface level of what you can do from the standpoint of integration from the capability of that API. So shifting into the OpenAI API documentation here, I'll link this below in the blog post that'll supplement on the bottom of this video. But essentially here, this is the API that we're using for the text completions, and that's what is taking in the prompt from the user in our Teams application and then providing a response. So again, I'd highly encourage checking out this documentation. This quick start tutorial gives you a cool little sample that you can play around with that really helped me get an acclimation to this in a matter of 30 minutes, where I didn't have any experience with using this before. So it's really good to see that. And then the API that I'm using is this completions API, where we're taking in or passing in this post request. We're passing in this dynamic prompt here as well too. So this value in the parameter section is dynamic, and then we're setting a max token value, a temperature value, and things like that. The key things to note here as far as the insights that I derived, the max token value is something that you can pass in that basically gives you a certain amount of value back from the model that you're using. And so essentially here, the max value is tied into the pricing, which I'll get to here a little bit later. but you can pass in numbers here to basically cap your users on the value returned, and that it can induce a lower cost value for you as well. That'll make more sense when I cover the cost. The one key thing to note here is the temperature. So the temperature, and you can reference the documentation directly here, shows that higher values mean the model will take more risk, meaning that it may be more accurate, but essentially here it could be wildly off as well too. And from my experience, whenever you had a value, like I put in 0.06 and put that in, and essentially there was giving me pretty standard answers that were pretty good. But when I put in a value of 1, it was giving me a much more verbose answer that was in some cases more correct, and in some other cases it was wildly off. But at least it was trying a little bit harder to grab the things that it could derive from the prompts that you were passing in. So definitely check out the documentation here. This is what I'm using to pass in. Also link the GitHub page where I have all the code that I'm using here to create this, just so you guys can reference it. But this is the main thing as far as the API that I'm using. It is, again, the completions API. From the Teams app perspective, Microsoft does have samples as well too that you can use to build a application. So if you're familiar with one of these languages over the other, it's probably a good place to start with that. But I just simply use this app with using JavaScript and React. So you can click in here and it'll give you the step-by-step walkthrough as far as the prerequisites goes, everything you need. The main thing is you're using this Teams toolkit here, which is doing a lot behind the scenes within Visual Studio Code, and that's allowing you to deploy your app pretty easily. And in my case, it's giving me the ability to have it run in the local debug mode, which is what you were seeing at the beginning of this video. From there, you're able to walk through these steps, and it really is straightforward. I did this in a matter of about 30 minutes just to deploy the boilerplate code as far as what you can do, but I'm also familiar obviously with the underlying code that it's using. You can sign into your environment. So if you have a Teams environment that you want to use as far as that goes, you can log in there. But otherwise, you could sign up for a developer program and get a sandbox account, and then you can go through and actually run it in a sandbox. So I'm not going to go through all these steps because they're pretty intuitive, but this also shows you how to deploy this into Azure as well too when you're ready for production. I'm not going to walk through the code itself in depth here, but the structure here you can again see up on the GitHub page. But this is the OpenAI API that we're calling here within the React code that I have built as part of the overall structure. And essentially there you're passing in the model, you're passing in the prompt as a dynamic value here. So that's our input that the user's typing in from that input perspective. We have our temperature set. We have our max token value set here as well. And then these other values here that I'm not going to get into because they aren't, in my opinion, as highly weighted as these other three. But essentially, we're just passing in our API token, which you can get from that documentation, which I referenced here at the beginning when I was referencing the OpenAI documentation. I'll also show you where that is in the blog post that I supplement here. But it's pretty straightforward. I have environment variables here to populate my API keys so they're not directly exposed, and everything else is just JavaScript and React. The PSA integration here on the create ticket side of the house is using the Synchro API, and we're using the context that's being passed in from the Teams package here, and that's allowing us to pass in these things dynamically and basically grab our API keys that we need as well too for Synchro, and then that's allowing us to get a user or contact ID, and then we can go ahead and post a new ticket as well when they submit that, grabbing in both the customer ID based off of what we've looked up with the search value and also the contact ID. So those things are already populated, and you can get even further here as far as the customization on what type of metadata you'd want to populate in a ticket that's created from this application. I do think it's interesting playing around with the temperature here, just on a final note before we shift into the final section. If I change this to 1, for instance, I can go ahead and save this, and it will compile because I'm running this debug mode right now. And so if I now prompt it to ask for a reset password, it'll go ahead and load and give me a value. And as you can see here, this is a pretty verbose response here that's a little bit different than what we saw before. So if we go back and we change this back down to 0.6, we save. And we go back and we ask it the same question. You can see that this is a much more condensed version of what we just saw there. So again, the higher the temperature, the higher risk it's going to take into an answer. But in some cases, the more accurate or more valuable, I guess, that response would be to an end user. So the last thing to consider here is around the pricing model and just how this works from that perspective. It's really based off of consumption here, but we have our language models, and the one that we're using is the most powerful, which is the DaVinci model here. And essentially you can see that it's 20 cents per 1,000 tokens. And that is a whole nother topic to even get into that I'm not going to go in depth on. But essentially a token is made up of a piece of words, and you can see this in a reference right here. So a paragraph in some cases might be 35 tokens. And so if you think about this just on the matter of volume, this could scale pretty well, I think, for maybe a smaller customer base. But if you have users pinging this all day across all of your customers, then these prices might get pretty high pretty quickly. So I think that's my one reservation before rolling this out on a broader scale. I think I would want to roll it out to a customer and see what the volume looks like. You can add breakpoints in here where it would just stop working, but that's obviously not too great of a user experience. But you could say, hey, I want to go ahead and cap them off, but if I get a return from the API and it says you've maxed out or you can't hit this API anymore for this month, then you can think about, how you would want to respond with a friendlier error message, I guess, just so that's a better experience. But this is my one reservation, I guess, to from a scalability standpoint, is exactly how much this would cost. There's a lot of these FAQs down here as well too, and like they reference here, Shakespeare are about 900,000 words or about 1.2 million tokens. So, I would play around with that just if you're going to use this as a real world application, just to make sure that you're not blowing up your account right away from users taking advantage of this and kind of blowing up the chat functionality right away. Okay guys, that's everything I had to show for you. Again, I'll link all this below as far as the GitHub repository and the supplemental blog, which you can reference as well too. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those below. But obviously, after you're seeing this, your head might be spinning a little bit, thinking about all the things that you could potentially create for this and the value you can use not only internally, but obviously extending that down to your customers as well too. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you like this content, go ahead and like and subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.